What is up? Today we're going to be talking about record possession and the uses for it. The uses for it is pretty much enemy AI. This is how you can easily make AI for your enemy in combination with trigger zones, but even without the trigger zone, you can create some pretty cool Mario World type enemies with just this alone. With the trigger zone detecting your main character, then it would follow it and then hurt it if it's an enemy, and then that's what the trigger zone's there for, with a follower in combination. But if you don't want any follower, this is pretty much how you would make a common enemy go left and right. So never put this inside of a timeline. Leave it outside so that way you can keep the animation. If you put it in a timeline, then it doesn't keep the running animations. It just follows the path. This is called paths. At least in Game Maker, this was called a path. I do believe it's been a while since I used Game Maker, but this is called a path if I am still correct. Then you'll want to unscope out of it. There we are. We have our thing. Notice that the animations are still present. But if I was to put this inside of a timeline, for whatever reason, there may be a way to fix this within the Puppet settings. Maybe it's an envelope problem. I'm not sure. But it just does this. And I'm not sure why. So if you were to just leave this outside, you should be good. Changing the puppet settings inside of here, the main ones that you might want to mess with it, this right here, you can read through it, and that might be one of the issues. It could be having something to do with this also. You could just read through it and see what it says, but this is how you can make recordings of puppet animations. In combination with that, you may want to turn off, if this is just an enemy, you may want to turn off the ability to possess it in game so your imp doesn't confuse it with your main character just by pressing this right here. That is pretty much it for this tutorial, guys. So how you can make this thing follow an enemy or your main character and hurt it whenever the main character is in range. The best way is just to use a trigger zone, put the trigger zone inside of that microchip, adjust the size, and then make it to where there's a follower that starts whenever the detection of the trigger zone is in range of your main character. So pretty much how you would set that up is with labels and trigger zones. Your trigger zone is right here, and then the detection is right here. Whenever it detects it, make it to where it follows your main character. And you might want to adjust the speed of this thing. You can adjust speed right here. You can adjust the axis in which it follows. So the axes are pretty much this right here. I'll go ahead and pull out the puppet controller sensor so you guys can see it. These are the axes, which may not necessarily be 100% correct because of the way that he's standing, but that's pretty much it. And you can turn all that down. If you're making a 2D game, just make it to where the path is linear. So whenever it detects it, the follower starts, and you can adjust the speed of the character in which he runs by pressing L1 and square on the puppet. And just all the speed, it's usually acceleration and movement that you will be adjusting. You can adjust other things also. And the collision types, this right here is a hitbox, the collision type, what it collides with. So if this is the friend or the good guy, your main character collides with a foe, use an impact sensor to make it to where damage is recognized, putting it inside of the microchip, sometimes connecting this part to what senses impacts if you need to, what kind of labels it senses foes, what happens when it detects, hurt you. If your HP bar is a counter, make it to where it increases the count. If your HP bar is a health manager or health, make it to where it modifies the health. Sometimes whenever you're modifying stuff, the stuff has to be hooked into what it's modifying. Make sure that your thing is also hooked into what senses the impacts whenever it takes the damage. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I have individual tutorials on this, but I wanted to make sure you guys kind of had a grip on how to make a, you know, a simple game. You can honestly make a simple game with just this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and peace out.